Have you ever felt that deep, nagging frustration of knowing exactly what you need to do but still not doing it? You wake up with big plans, promising yourself that today will be different. But as the hours pass, nothing happens. The task stays undone. The dream remains just an idea. And the worst part? You don't even have a good reason why. If that sounds familiar, keep listening. Because by the end of this, you will understand why you're stuck. And, more importantly, how to break free. But before we begin, here's something to think about. Imagine if from this moment forward you never hesitated again. Imagine if every time you had an idea, a goal, or an opportunity, you took action immediately, without fear, without doubt, without excuses. What would your life look like? That's the power waiting for you at the end of this journey. Now, let's talk about something most people ignore. The pain of inaction, the hidden suffering of doing nothing. People always talk about the pain of failure. They say failure hurts, that making mistakes is embarrassing, that trying and not succeeding will crush your confidence. But you know what's even worse than failure? Regret. Because failure at least means you tried. It means you moved. It means you learned. But inaction? That's the slow poison that eats at you from the inside. It doesn't come all at once. It creeps in silently. At first, it's just a small disappointment. A tiny voice in the back of your head whispering, "You should have done it." But over time, that whisper turns into a scream. The moment you realize a whole year has passed and nothing has changed. The moment you look at someone else succeeding, knowing you had the same opportunity but didn't take it. The moment you lie awake at night, haunted by the thought, what if I had just started? The longer you wait, the harder it gets. Psychologists call this the snowball effect of inaction. Every time you hesitate, you reinforce the habit of hesitation. Every time you delay, it gets easier to delay again, and before you know it, procrastination isn't just a bad habit, it's your identity. You start believing you're the kind of person who just can't follow through. And that's dangerous. Because once you identify as someone who doesn't take action, your brain will do everything it can to keep you in that comfort zone. Even when you want to change, your mind fights back. It will flood you with doubts. What if I fail? What if it's too late? What if I'm just not meant to do this? But let's be brutally honest. These are just stories. Lies your mind tells you to keep you safe. Because the mind doesn't care about success, it cares about comfort. Regret is heavier than failure. Think of the people who inspire you, the ones who made something of their lives. Do you really think they got there without fear, without doubt, without moments of hesitation? Of course not. The difference is, they moved anyway. They understood something most people never realize. Action is the cure. Not confidence, not motivation, not waiting for the perfect time, just action. Because the truth is, no matter how much time you've lost, you can always start now. The weight of regret is only heavy if you keep carrying it. The moment you decide to move, that weight starts to disappear. So here's your first test. Pause for a second and think. What is one thing, just one, that you've been avoiding? That idea, that goal, that dream. The thing that's been sitting in the back of your mind for weeks, months, maybe even years. You already know what it is. Now, do something. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because this is the moment, the line between the person you've been and the person you're about to become. One action, one decision. That's all it takes to change your momentum. And once you start, something incredible happens. You realize you were never actually stuck. You were just waiting for permission to move. And now, you don't need permission anymore. Why we resist action? So if taking action is the key, why don't we do it? Why is it so easy to stay stuck, even when we know better? Because the mind is a master of deception. It doesn't push you forward, it pulls you back. It whispers excuses, feeding you fear, doubt, and hesitation. And the worst part? You believe it. Your brain isn't wired for success. It's wired for survival. And survival means avoiding risk, staying comfortable, and resisting change. Every time you try to act, your mind triggers the same response as if you were in danger. That's why you freeze. That's why you hesitate. Not because you're lazy, not because you lack discipline, but because your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do, protect you. But here's the truth. There is no danger. Failure won't kill you. Rejection won't destroy you. Mistakes won't end your life. The only real danger is staying exactly where you are. Fear of failure versus fear of success. Some people don't act because they fear failure. They fear looking stupid, making mistakes, or proving their doubts right. But others, they fear success. Because success comes with responsibility. It demands change. It forces you to step up. And that terrifies people. They want to improve, but deep down they know that means leaving behind old habits, old comfort zones, maybe even old relationships. So instead of facing that fear, they do nothing. They choose the illusion of safety over the reality of growth. But understand this. Inaction is a decision. It's a choice. And every time you choose to do nothing, you are actively choosing to stay small. So the question is simple. Will you let your mind control you, or will you take control of your mind? The illusion of motivation. Most people make the same mistake. They wait for motivation. They sit there hoping for a spark, a surge of energy, a perfect moment when everything feels right. But that moment never comes. Because motivation is a lie. It's not something you wait for. It's something you create. Look at the times you actually got something done. Was it because you were motivated? Or was it because you forced yourself to start and then somewhere along the way motivation showed up? That's how it works. Action comes first. Motivation comes second. Yet most people flip the order. They tell themselves, I'll start when I feel ready. But here's the truth. You will never feel ready. Because the brain is designed to resist change. It will always find a reason to delay. It will tell you not today, maybe tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into next year. And before you know it, you're still in the same place, waiting for motivation that never comes. Discipline beats motivation every time. Successful people don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. Discipline means you act whether you feel like it or not. It means you move forward even when your mind is screaming at you to stop. Because feelings are unreliable. Some days you'll be excited. Other days you won't. But action? Action is a choice. The difference between success and failure is simple. Do you act despite how you feel? Because once you start, something incredible happens. Momentum takes over. The first step is the hardest, but once you take it, everything gets easier. And suddenly, you don't need motivation anymore because you've built a habit of action. So stop waiting, stop searching for a feeling, move first, and motivation will follow. The 5-second rule. Hesitation is the enemy. The moment you pause, your mind starts working against you. It gives you reasons to wait, excuses to delay, and doubts to hold you back. And once those thoughts take over, you lose. That's why you must act before hesitation begins. There's a simple trick to override your brain's resistance. It's called the 5-second rule. Whenever you feel the urge to act, count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Don't think, don't analyze, just act. Because science proves that if you wait longer than 5 seconds, your brain will talk you out of it. It will remind you of the risks. It will convince you that now isn't the right time. It will paralyze you with overthinking. But when you count down and move instantly, you interrupt that pattern. You don't give your mind time to resist. You take control before hesitation controls you. The mind is a machine. You must override it. Think about it. How many times have you had a great idea but never acted on it? How many times have you felt inspired only to let that feeling fade because you hesitated? That hesitation is the difference between winners and losers. Between those who build the life they want and those who settle for less. The moment you feel resistance, you must move. No overthinking, no second guessing, just action. Because every time you push through, you build strength. You train your mind to obey you instead of controlling you. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. So the next time you feel the urge to act, don't wait. Count down from 5 and go. Because in those 5 seconds, you decide your future. The psychology of momentum getting started is the hardest part. The moment before action feels heavy, like pushing a massive boulder that refuses to move. But something incredible happens the second you push through that resistance. Momentum takes over. This isn't just an idea, it's science. Newton's first law states that an object in motion stays in motion. The same applies to your mind. Once you start, everything gets easier, but most people never reach that point. They wait for the right mood, the perfect plan, the best conditions, and while they wait, the weight of inaction builds, making it even harder to start. The solution? Forget the outcome. Focus on movement. Small steps create massive change. Most people fail because they think too big. They imagine the entire journey, get overwhelmed, and give up before they even begin. But high performers? They don't focus on the mountain. They focus on the first step. Want to write a book? Just write one sentence. Need to start working out? Do one push-up. Have a big project? Just open your laptop. It sounds too simple, but it works. Because small actions remove resistance. Once you take that first step, the second is easier, then the third. Then suddenly, you're in motion, and momentum is carrying you forward. Action fuels motivation. People believe they need motivation to take action, but the truth is, action creates motivation. When you move, even a little, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical that makes you feel good, and pushes you to keep going. That's why starting is everything. Even the smallest action shifts your mindset. It transforms you from someone who waits into someone who moves. So don't think about the whole journey, just take the first step. Because once you do, momentum will do the rest. Pain as a weapon. Most people run from pain. They avoid discomfort, fear, struggle, and do everything they can to stay safe. But what if pain wasn't your enemy? What if it was the very thing that could drive you forward? Pain is a powerful motivator if you use it correctly. Right now, think about the pain of staying the same. Think about what your life will look like if you keep delaying, keep hesitating, keep waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. Imagine waking up 5 years from now, realizing nothing has changed. Same problems, same excuses, same regrets. How does that feel? That pain is real. And if you don't act now, it will only get worse. Turn pain into power. Psychologists call this the pain-pleasure principle. People move for two reasons, to avoid pain or to gain pleasure. But here's the problem. Pleasure is weak. It fades. It feels good in the moment, but it doesn't create urgency. Pain, on the other hand, is strong. It's immediate. It forces change. So instead of avoiding pain, use it. Instead of fearing failure, fear regret. Instead of running from discomfort, let it drive you. Make the thought of staying the same so unbearable that you have no choice but to move. Because in the end, you have two options, the temporary pain of action or the lifelong pain of regret. Choose wisely. The power of identity. What if I told you that the key to taking action lies not in your to-do list, but in how you see yourself? You've probably heard people say, just push yourself to get things done. But the truth is, it's not about pushing yourself. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to push. The way you view yourself shapes your actions. If you see yourself as someone who doesn't follow through, you'll keep making excuses. If you see yourself as someone who can't stick to a plan, you'll give up before you even try. But if you start identifying as someone who takes action, someone who moves without hesitation, then you'll naturally begin to act that way. Identity drives action. This isn't some motivational fluff. This is psychology at its core. Our identity is the lens through which we view the world. It dictates how we respond to challenges, how we react to failure, and how we take or don't take action. Imagine this. You're someone who finishes everything they start. You're someone who gets things done no matter the obstacles. You're someone who doesn't hesitate but moves with purpose. Now ask yourself, what would you do if you truly believed that? The answer? Everything. When you align your identity with the person you want to become, you no longer have to motivate yourself. You simply act because it's who you are. It's in your nature. Stop calling yourself lazy. If you keep calling yourself lazy, weak, or unmotivated, that's exactly what you'll become. Your brain listens to your self-talk, and it believes every word. The moment you stop labeling yourself as someone who doesn't take action, you'll start to change. Stop identifying as someone who procrastinates. Start identifying as someone who takes immediate action. Make it part of your identity, and soon taking action will feel natural, like second nature, because the truth is, you are what you repeatedly do. So choose to be someone who acts. Choose to be someone who moves. Embrace discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It doesn't happen when everything is easy and smooth. True growth comes when you push through discomfort, when you step outside your safe little bubble and face the challenges head on. Think about it. What's the one thing you've been avoiding because it's too uncomfortable? That one task that scares you, that makes your heart race, that you keep putting off because it feels hard. That's where your growth lies. The reason you resist action is because the brain is wired to seek comfort. But comfort doesn't create anything great. Comfort keeps you stuck. The power of discomfort. Every time you face discomfort, you're strengthening your ability to deal with harder situations. You're building resilience. You're training your mind to handle challenges with ease. The more discomfort you embrace, the more capable you become. Every time you step into the unknown, you're getting better, stronger, more skilled. So, instead of running from discomfort, learn to love it. When you feel fear or resistance, see it as a sign that you're on the right track. It means you're growing. It means you're becoming more than you were yesterday. The comfort zone is a trap. Here's the problem. Most people stay in their comfort zone because it feels safe. But safety doesn't lead to success. Safety leads to stagnation. The comfort zone is a trap. It's where dreams go to die. So, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Seek out challenges. Tackle the things that scare you, because those are the things that will move you forward. Discomfort is your ally, not your enemy. The more you face it, the more you'll grow. And when you start to love the discomfort, you'll unlock your true potential. The path to success is not paved with ease. It's paved with challenges, obstacles, and discomfort. But those are the very things that will make you unstoppable. Destroy the perfection trap. How many times have you delayed a task because you wanted it to be perfect? How many times have you sat back, analyzing every detail, making sure everything was just right before you move forward? Perfectionism is a trap. It's a clever lie your mind tells you to keep you stuck. It convinces you that you must have everything in place before you take action. But here's the truth. Perfection doesn't exist. No matter how much you plan, no matter how much you analyze, there will always be something you didn't foresee. There will always be an imperfection. Start messy, start now. Instead of waiting for everything to be perfect, start messy. Start with what you have, with what you know, even if it's incomplete or unrefined. The most successful people didn't wait for the perfect conditions. They started with what they had and then figured it out along the way. Action creates clarity. Perfection comes from doing, not from planning. Every mistake, every misstep brings you closer to your goal. It's through action that you learn, adapt, and improve. Done is better than perfect. If you're waiting for the perfect time, you're never going to start. Perfection keeps you stuck in analysis and hesitation. But done is better than perfect. Don't let the idea of perfection stop you. You'll never know how good something can be until you start. The sooner you begin, the sooner you'll improve, and the sooner you'll make progress. So let go of the need to be perfect. Just do. Start now and let the process perfect your results. The power of consistency. It's not the big bursts of motivation that lead to success. It's the small, consistent actions you take every day. Too many people think success comes from one big moment, one breakthrough, one giant leap. But the truth is, success is built in the small moments. You don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to go all in at once. What you need is consistency. Consistency beats intensity. You can work yourself to exhaustion for a week trying to accomplish everything at once. But if you burn out, that effort means nothing. On the other hand, if you make progress every single day, even if it's just a little bit, that consistent effort compounds over time. Think of it like this. A single push-up won't make you strong. A single day of work won't build your career. A single healthy meal won't transform your body. But when you show up consistently, when you take one step each day, you build momentum, and momentum is the force that drives you forward, even when you feel like giving up. The compound effect, the reason consistency works is because of the compound effect. The small, seemingly insignificant actions you take every day add up in ways you can't see right away. Over time, they create massive results. Just think about a snowball. At first it's tiny, but as it rolls down the hill, it gathers more snow and grows larger, faster. Your actions work the same way. If you take one small step every day, a year from now, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. So stop focusing on the big picture and just focus on today. Show up every day. If you want to take control of your life, stop waiting for motivation or perfect conditions. Instead, show up every single day. Even when you don't feel like it, even when the progress is small, keep moving, keep taking action, keep showing up, because consistency, not intensity, is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful, and it's the secret to achieving anything you set your mind to. The power of small wins. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the bigger picture, the massive goals, the long journey, the mountain you have to climb. But here's the truth. You don't need to conquer everything at once. The key to building lasting momentum is small wins. Simple, achievable goals that you can hit every day. These small wins are the foundation of success. They may seem insignificant in the moment, but each one is a victory, a step forward that reinforces your belief in yourself. They build your confidence and create the energy to keep going. Celebrate every step. Many people make the mistake of ignoring small wins. They think they're too small to matter, but they matter more than you think. Celebrating each step, whether it's finishing a task, making progress on a project, or even sticking to a habit for a day, gives you something tangible to be proud of. It fuels your drive to keep going. Imagine this. Instead of only celebrating when you hit the big milestone, you celebrate every small win along the way. Every time you take action, you're telling your brain, this is progress. I'm moving forward. And the more you celebrate your wins, the more motivated you'll feel to take the next step. Small wins lead to big wins. The reason small wins are so powerful is that they create a snowball effect. When you stack up one small success after another, you start to build momentum. That momentum drives you toward bigger wins. For example, if you write 200 words every day, by the end of the month you'll have written 6,000 words. That's a huge accomplishment. If you work out for just 20 minutes a day, by the end of the month you've built a habit and made progress toward a stronger body. The key is consistency. Start small and let those small wins accumulate into something bigger. The compound power of action, it's the same principle we talked about earlier, the compound effect. Every time you take action, no matter how small, you're stacking the odds in your favor. You're setting the stage for bigger accomplishments down the road. One small win today will fuel a larger success tomorrow. Keep moving forward, no matter how small the steps, because each one takes you closer to your bigger goal. So, instead of waiting for perfection, celebrate what you're doing now. Celebrate the fact that you're taking action, no matter how small it is. And let each small win become the fuel that drives you to the next level. The cost of inaction. Have you ever stopped to consider the cost of doing nothing? When you avoid taking action, when you let the days slip by without progress, what are you actually losing? It's easy to look at inaction as harmless. You think, it's just one day, it won't make a difference. But here's the truth. Every day you don't act, you pay a price. And that price isn't just in lost time. It's in missed opportunities, regret, and the feeling of being stuck. Time doesn't wait. Every minute you spend hesitating is a minute you'll never get back. The world keeps moving forward, and if you don't take action, you'll be left behind. Regret versus action. Regret is one of the most powerful forces that drives people to take action, but it's also one of the most painful. Imagine looking back years from now and realizing that your dreams never became a reality. Imagine seeing other people live the life you wanted, knowing that you had the same potential but didn't take the steps. Regret eats at you. It weighs heavy on your heart. Regret tells you that you could have been more, done more, achieved more, if only you had acted. But the cost of inaction is not just about missed opportunities. It's also about the pain of staying in the same place. Every day you stay stuck is a day closer to a life you never wanted. And if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, that day will come when you're out of time. The unseen impact of inaction invents and control that affects everyone. Unacceptable. It doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone around you. It affects your relationships, your career, and even your self-esteem. The longer you delay, the more you distance yourself from your true potential. And eventually that gap becomes too wide to cross. When you don't take action, you not only waste time, you waste energy. Your mind becomes trapped in a cycle of frustration and doubt. You feel unfulfilled, unproductive, and stuck in a loop that never seems to end. That's the cost of inaction. But the good news is, the opposite is also true. Every time you take action, you break free from that cycle. You start to move toward your dreams, you gain clarity, and you create the future you want. The power of decision. Remember, taking action starts with one simple decision. You decide right now that you will not stay stuck. You decide that the cost of inaction is far greater than the discomfort of getting started. And once you make that decision, you're already halfway there. Don't let inaction rob you of the life you deserve. Every moment is an opportunity to change, to grow, and to move closer to the person you want to become. Start today, because the price of waiting is too high, and the reward of action is limitless. Overcoming the fear of failure. Failure. It's a word that holds so much power over people. It's the reason why many don't start, why many hesitate. The fear of failure paralyzes you, keeps you stuck in place, and convinces you that it's better to not try at all than to risk failing. But what if the truth is the opposite? What if failure is your greatest teacher? Failure is not the end, it's the beginning. The fear of failure comes from the idea that failure is permanent, that if you fail, you're done. But in reality, failure is simply feedback. It's an opportunity to learn, adjust, and improve. Think about the most successful people. They didn't become successful because they never failed. They became successful because they kept going despite the failures. Each failure was a lesson. Each mistake was an opportunity to grow. Every time you take action and fail, you're actually one step closer to success. Failure is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. The fear of not trying, instead of fearing failure, consider this. What if the real failure is not trying at all? What if the true regret comes not from failing, but from never attempting? It's easy to avoid failure by staying in your comfort zone, but by doing so, you miss out on the chance to grow. You miss the opportunity to learn what you're truly capable of. You rob yourself of progress. So the next time you feel that fear of failure creeping in, shift your focus. Ask yourself, what will happen if I don't try? And then remind yourself, the biggest failure is not starting. Failure is part of the process. No one achieves success without facing failure. Think about all the great innovators and leaders throughout history. Each one failed many times before achieving their goals. They were rejected, doubted, and told they wouldn't succeed, but they kept going. Failure is part of the process. It's a sign that you're pushing boundaries, stepping outside your comfort zone, and taking risks. And that's where growth happens. Learn to love failure. Instead of letting the fear of failure stop you, learn to see it as a sign that you're on the right track. Failure means you're doing something. It means you're moving forward, trying and learning. Every time you fail, you get better. Every time you fall, you learn how to stand up stronger. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the path to success. So the next time you hesitate because of fear, remember, failure is a stepping stone. Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid of not trying at all. And once you embrace failure, nothing will stop you from achieving your dreams.